first quarterfinal of the new season, Turtle, about to get started, and two new-looking teams are here to start the day. Oxygen, Archie, Oli, and Joria's taking on Gamers First, Dorito, Atomic, and Mark by 8. Turtle, give me the measure of this match. How you think this one's going to go down?
This is a tough one. I mean, they talked about it on the desk over and over again that this is a nail-biter of a series. You're going to get what I expect, a Game 7. I hope for a Game 7, and also got more space given to Archie. I think that was the big talking point from the interview we just saw. He's now around, in his opinion, more mechanical players. He's got the freedom to work. And while on the other side, Gamers First, I think there's obviously that big story of Mark by 8 trying to make a comeback and get a rematch against BDS. So there's plenty of storylines, so much content here right in front of us, Jorby. And I just can't wait to get into it.
I mean, that Archie interview is interesting because I think it was earlier this week he was on I believe it was the CJ show, and he was saying, he kind of expanded on that a little bit, saying, yeah, I felt like I had to 1v3 on my previous teams, but now with Joria's and Oli, I don't feel that way anymore. That trust factor, regardless of how you get there, is such a big component for a player, and some early pressure here for Oxygen. This, on the Makins, Turtle, I was talking to you about this before we got started, how I felt like Oxygen, on paper, should be able to contend with any team. But for me personally, I'm concerned long-term about the consistency of the team. This regional going really well. As Doria's just nailed the first goal right to the back of the net. But we'd love to see this type of Oxygen all the time, and that's the only thing I'll say about it.
Oh my, what an angle too from the backboard. He rotated through the corner, got on the backboard, opened himself up, and was able to get that shot into the back of the net. That was a ridiculous start for Oxygen Esports, and that's what they're gonna have to aim for, Jorby, is keeping that consistency. It's a big question because you get a team that comes together very mechanically. It's a brand new team, very fresh roster, and maintaining that is going to be difficult. They have been able to maintain all this pressure, however, and they keep this ball on the orange half. Gamers First have pretty much had their work cut out for them, but it's gonna be quick passing in the midfield. That sets up a better shot. Archie gets the save, but finally a good response from Gamers First.
Good 50 from Dorito. Mark by 8 also got the demo. Some space in midfield. G1 happy to finally get out. That's a great touch from Oli against Dorito. Forced Atomic back. He was hoping for something a little better. Oli's just getting the ball back for Oxygen. And despite on that being on that half of the field, they only mustered 2 shots. Compare that to Oxygen, who almost got their second goal, but that was just their 8th shot put on net, not even halfway through.
Yeah, so far what I've seen out of Oxygen, I love this corner play. You saw Oli go for a Doomsy dish from the corner, and they've set up a lot of opportunities. I mean, think about that shot, the first goal from Jorius, that came from the corner, was able to rotate on the back of the net. So for Oxygen, the bread and butter is going to be throwing this ball, dishing into the corners and trying to outpace at least one opponent. Here comes Archie again in the corner, could lead to something. Doesn't find a touch, but we're back down to Jorius keeping the pressure and maintaining it, Jorby. You're talking about consistency, and while it's only been a little bit over halftime here in game number 1, they've consistently been on the offensive foot end, and this has been ridiculous stuff from Oxygen.
Well, that one probably should have been in. You had G1 all tied up with each other. Atomic and Mark had bumped, or Atomic and Dorito had bumped into each other. Mark had no boost, and then you had a free shot on net, nailed it to the crossbar. Oli shot here blocked, but all of Gamers First touches contested. Oli back pass. A 3-point passing play. Can they commit? Jory is blocked on the attempt, but a good idea to try to change it up and freeze the defense. But now G1 have a chance. They forced 2 to commit from Oxygen. And another one maybe, marked by 8 off the backboard. Doritos in the air, shot right through the defender. Oli couldn't find the touch. Dorito ties it up.
Everything started here with a double commit from Oxygen Esports. There was a big clear from Gamers First. A double commit came out from Oxygen. And since then, they have been scrambling on the defensive end. 1 midfield pass, 1 solid strike. Gamers First are back in it. Game 1. It was 1 mistake, Jorby. That's all it took to start things off.
That kickoff, Oxygen are probably happy to get because they were starting to lose midfield. But with how G1 have looked on defense, I think it's been a little scrappy for them in game 1. A lot of their touches are in contested territory. They're not finding their teammates in clear space, but when they do get downfield, they're making the most of it. Dorito is in midfield this time, so those early defensive slight miscues, because they weren't big miscues. They didn't kill them. They didn't allow Oxygen to score, but you start thinking back to that earlier chance that they ripped off the crossbar. That was probably the cleanest chance that they've gotten since then. Atomic flips in front for the save, but the ball's wide. The ball, well, it was a free ball, excuse me, but the shot denied. And Archie gonna push it across the corner. Jory is there, high again, but the top of the net defended, deleted, and a shot coming towards. Maybe, but the corner just handled extremely well by Dorito. Mark by 8 gets it out as well. Atomic real late to that ball. Mark already on the rotation. Pinch up, takes it away from Oli.
This looks like Oxygen Esports. They're trying to suffocate, no pun intended, all the oxygen out of Gamers First in their own half. This is ridiculous. And now they keep crashing the net. There's been a couple of close calls from Gamers First. They carry the ball across their own net on the goal line. You get a good bump from Oxygen, taking out one player, and this should lead to a better transition. 3 seconds left. The ball just has to hit the ground, and we'll go into OT unless Jorius has something else to say. A double commit on the backboard, but that's all they needed to send this into OT. Game 1 is already a doozy.
Ooh, a kickoff going Oli's way before he got demolished. Mark will send it away.
There we go.
See how Gamers First gets it set up. That's over. Jorius was ready for it, but it was just going a little too fast. Looks like it's going to be a free clear for Dorito. Now, how do Gamers First get set up? It's pretty easy for Oxygen to get that clear turtle, yeah.
This feels very one-sided already. It's all coming down to the transitions from Gamers First. You've got a lot of these players on Orange specifically stuck in their own half, and now they finally managed to get a good transition. The one goal they got was from a double commit from Oxygen Esports. It feels like Oxygen, they're creating better opportunities. Gamers First have just only been able to punish, which gives me the edge to Oxygen Esports. And Gamers First need to get a better transition, good clear, but that's not finding a teammate down the other side. And then a bump comes through from Archie. It's plays like that that are developing so many more opportunities, and the defense has been able to hold on from Gamers First. The question is how long, and how long indeed. It's 1 minute and 3 seconds into OT, and things get ended quickly.
Well, they had like 2 players on G1 were sitting on nothing. They were trying to rotate close to net, and you saw, I missed the tag who went and tried to bump the last player in net, but it forced him to move outside the net. He only had 12 boost, and then couldn't get, it was Atomic who tried to get back into net in time, but just the attempted bump was enough to pull him out of position, pull him far enough away, and then eventually that boost starvation came into effect. The shot was too much. Jorius getting 2 big shots off, or 2 big goals off of 8 shots total.
And that's what I expected here going into that OT. I mean, think about how game 1 played out. Oxygen Esports were always attacking. There were rarely moments where they were stuck on defense. And this one play, this one goal from Gamers First, it was just a punishing goal. They were able to get a solid transition, but they didn't even find a player downfield. So it really feels like it comes down to Oxygen Esports, whether or not they maintain consistency on defense with communication. If they're spacing it out, they should be able to take and continue on here with their tear against Gamers First.
Yeah, in some of these defensive stints, they tend to get a little panicked. Like you saw G1 double commit several times, and it's not just the double commits though, it's the pathing and positioning and really the quality of touches, because the touches were always in to defenders. Part of that is because Oxygen have been positioning well, reading the touches well. They've got their finger on the pulse of the game. Gamers First, they've got to find a way to shorten up that space on defense and find each other in traffic. Otherwise, they're going to get stuffed in the midfield like they did a lot of the time.
And to me, that's a very difficult obstacle, Jorby, because if you're going to find each other and look for better vision whenever you're dealing with the speed that is Oxygen Esports, I mean, first of all, you have to have boots. Second of all, you have to be on the field. There's been a lot of demos from everybody on the blue side, taking out, players like Atomic and Mark. And then more shots coming in from Oli. A good opportunity, but we start right where we left off from game 1. But a good transition from Atomic, is going to lead into something. And these corner passes is what I want to see more from Mark by 8, trying to find each other, look to build on that transition out rather than just one big clear draw. But even slow it down like this from Mark by 8, that's a smarter decision than just booming it downfield.
He did find the corner, but then it comes down to the quality of that first touch, right? That one right there, attempting to get it away. But Oli's just in a great spot there, right? Atomic catches that ball, and what's he going to do with it? He has to try to go to the side and force a 50 against Oli. Wait, Dorito? Does he get the touch? Oh, Oli's there to defend it. And Mark by 8 intercepts the pass. Got 2 touches. Not going to make it awkward enough. Oldie comes down.
Yeah.
Gamers First really want that. Dorito, no boost, tried to 50.
Okay.
Rips it on target, but right into a defender.
Oh.
G1, do they still have it? No, Oldie gets a free clear.
I really like that idea from Mark by 8, though. I think Dorito was landing from his initial shot. Mark by 8 was trying to find him on the other side, and that could have surprised the defense from Oxygen. Passing it right to the player who's landing a whiff, or rather a fake from Gamers First. Almost threw Oxygen Esports off, but instead they've got Oldie going for an air dribble, sets up Archie. All the mechanics are coming through. It's off the crossbar, and they continue with their pressure. This is back and forth, both teams exchanging blows, Jorby. Gamers First have been able to find transitions.
That was great shade from Oldie, too, because he got Atomic to bite on his play, but he wasn't looking at Joria's.
Yeah.
Or not Joria's, excuse me, Archie, who took the shot. And Oxygen just a little lower again. Get a little more comfortable on offense. Archie right over Atomic, and he can't make contact. He only had about 3 boosts in the tank. Leads to a transition. Okay. Atomic hard pass to Dorito. He wins it. Mark behind him, but he's only in the air. He can't commit yet. And a full tank. He got chipped by Oli. Archie gets the clear.
That transition is what we're looking for at a Gamers First. You notice one touch from the defensive end. It's off to the sidewall where you've got another player waiting patiently. But Oli, my goodness, he's always in the right spot. I'm talking a lot about Gamers First and them finding each other when they're transitioning out. But Oli, it doesn't even matter if the Gamers First touches are smart into their own team. The positioning is on another level. And here they come with more shots. Oxygen Esports. This is a really great performance, and they're starving them.
This is what Gamers First did against BDS. Getting in front of every shot, even on low boost. And Atomic on the breakout, it bounced off the bar and out. Oh, you gotta be gutted. You gotta keep the pressure up if you're Gamers First. Dorito got the 50 in the corner. Oli and Archie combined to get another clear. Gamers First forced the entire way back. They couldn't grab the boost. They had to retreat. Don't get the ball. It's Mark. Pushes it by the midfield line. Oli faking the challenge, and he gets the boost. And a full tank to move downfield. Putting in that follow-up spot for Gamers First. Atomic. No clear for him. It was just right back to Oli. And now Oxygen are going to start testing him with these hard touches. Archie with another one. Marks up to the task. Archie just dunked him off of it. Oli has an open net.
Wow.
Goal for Oxygen.
And this is so convenient for you, Joe, because you're talking about difficult touches. Look at that touch from Archie in the corner. Dorito was there for the follow-up, but didn't expect the dunk from Archie. And because of it, that ball can float in the air, have all the space in the world for Oxygen to make some work, do some damage on the offensive side. And it comes down to Archie, who finds that finishing touch. Good kickoff for Gamers First. Could be a nice retaliation, good quick response. They don't have it. Maybe they can maintain some pressure, but instead it's dunked by Archie. These follow-up hits, so predictable. And Oxygen Esports are able to find a touch when it seems almost impossible, Jorby.
Oh, Archie couldn't wrap around it, but left a free ball for Jorius, and he hit it right into the defenders. There's a lot of them around. It's a great first touch from Oli. He's got control. Here he comes with the dunk, almost under 2. Dorito having to protect the back line. Oli with no boost, trying to find Archie. Oxygen are all over him, won't give G1 any space. They finally get a clear. Wait, there's a man downfield, past the 49. And Archie, kind of awkward, was thinking that play was going to flow the opposite direction, and he gets bailed out. The play slowed down. Jory is non-touch, but that works out for Archie. Light touch saved by Mark. Popped up by Oli. We're going Archie, he went the bump, and again, Jory is the hole. 2 goals for Oxygen.
And you feel for Atomic, who's in the net right now. 2 players just went for the ball. He jumps up, doesn't find the touch. He accidentally hits his head on the top of the goal. And you've got another player, trying to take you out. He's looking for the bump. He's also looking for the save. There's so many different outlets for Oxygen Esports to make a move on offense, Jorby. What do you do if you're Atomic in that situation?
Exactly. Like, you see Archie barreling down on you, so you come out of net, you're going to get bumped. And like, okay, well, if you don't do it, where do you go? It doesn't matter. Archie made the play happen. Oli made the play happen. Jory has closed it down. Oxygen take a 2-0 lead.
Wow. This is the team, I think, on paper that you stated, Jorby, expected. So many mechanics. They're keeping pressure. They're getting unreal dunks. Like, this entire game 1 was ridiculous, right? But game 2, you come out here, and this felt like Gamers First had found their footing. They were getting some momentum. There were times where they get a big clear down the other side, and we do actually have a timeout from Gamers First. This is going to be an extra 60 seconds to figure things out, try and retaliate. and figure out what exactly Oxygen Esports are doing that is suffocating you in your own end. And for me, it comes down to that prediction game, Jorby. Oxygen Esports are intercepting these balls, getting in the passing lanes, whether it's in the midfield, whether it's in your own corners. There's always a player on the blue side in your face and getting a touch.
Yeah, the ball control on defense for Gamers First, while they've been able to get a ton of these saves, 8 saves in that game. You know, those saves are great, but usually you're just throwing the ball away because you're having to dive for a stop and you're not easily able to find your teammates. And we kind of talked about that in game 1, but it's happening in game 2 as well. We saw them have to make, what, 3-4 saves in a row?
Oh, yeah.
And if second man isn't getting that follow-up, like you're just gonna lose to this Oxygen team who have you on red on offense right now.
Right.
And it's pretty difficult for G1 right now. I really do think it comes down to the possession game and the quality of their first touches, because it hasn't really been there. You've seen them kind of mishandle a couple balls on defense, and while I don't think they were tying each other up as much, there were still some issues in communication for double commits. So there's definitely a lot of things Gamers First can get going. When they do transition though, Turtle, they look good when they get on offense.
100%. Like you've seen the opportunities they've been able to create, the creativity that they'll come out with, like I mentioned before, as we take a look at these replays. Gamers First, when they do get out of their own end and find a transition, they are able to open up a lot of fantastic shooting lanes and they look solid. But the question is, how do they get onto the offensive side? That's the difficult part now, because you're going up against a team of Oxygen Esports that has 3 very, very fast players. And the issue here, they're always going to be in position to get a dunk, to outpace you, to get in your face. And as we get into game 3, things have to change. Will the timeout play into effect? What changes will Gamers First implement to go up against the 3-headed beast that is Oxygen Esports?
It's not just the ones that they're hitting, it's also the ones that Oxygen are slightly missing too. You think if their accuracy is a little bit better, this game probably isn't as close as you might think it is with how much pressure that they have put on. So we'll see. That's a great pass. Atomic gonna play it slow. Force the 50 against Archie, but Dorito, he tried to stay close in the rotation, was hoping it would come. He didn't have any boost, so grab midfield though. Now he takes the pass from Mark. Back to Mark, shot denied.
And it's also difficult, Jorby, if you want to talk about the boost. I mean, Archie coming in here into the playoffs, the top 3 for stolen boost pads out of the Swiss stage. That player is always going to be in your own half, taking your own corner boost, and that could play into effect on how difficult it has been for Gamers First to get out of their own end. If they don't have the boost, the quick panic option, Jorby, is to just clear it as strong and as hard as you can down the other side, especially when you're on empty.
Well, that's good use of the wave dash by Mark. It forced
big demo.
The attacker off the ball. Dorito now makes another save. Mark tried to dive in front of it, lost the 50, shot denied. Dorito working small pad game just to stay in the rotation off the bar. It's awkward, but no one's coming around. Oli gets the dunk, but it's wide. Archie around the corner, but he's got to leave it. Atomic's got full protection of the ball, and Archie forced to try to clear as he gets a decent touch, but Mark comes out. Atomic doesn't get a bump. Another clear for Oxygen.
This is a treat, Jorby. I am having a great time watching Oxygen on the offense. This has been somebody who's always rotating in. They have a player in position. They're very organized. The communication seems to be on point. However, as soon as I say that, there's space given to Dorito. What does he do with it? Goes and opts for a solo play. Doesn't result in too much, but at least some added pressure. Atomic, there's a touch that just gives him away to Jorius. He's waiting in his own corner. Patient approach from Oxygen on defense. It's worked out. Look at Jorius on the dribble. A slow approach, but it sets up that transition.
Good read by Mark. He's got a little bit of space. Makes good use of it. Pushed Oli forward. Now Dorito, got a reset. No bump, no one's gonna jump. They stay flat, but Atomic dunked. And G1 finally on the board.
Listen, Jorby, I'm all for composure, but we got to pick up the speed a little bit. We got 3 players waiting patiently. Archie could have flicked that, or at least gone for an earlier touch. Thought he could get a 50-50, but instead was met with a huge dunk. And Gamers First take the lead now, first time in game 3.
And it was such a good idea from Dorito, too. It wasn't just the flip reset. He also went for the bump as well. It forced the defenders to stay on the ground to avoid the bump, which made the read a lot easier for Atomic to track that ball on its way out of the net. Dorito, an excellent job moving down the field. Now Mark's got a free shot, but it's taken away and too high anyway. Oh, that ball skipped hard in midfield.
Look at this
Another
face.
right shot taken away. Ball away from Oxygen. Dorito goes for more control. Almost got under that ball. It's a little awkward. Archie gets chipped. Jorrias will be first to the ball. Here come Oxygen. Easily defended.
Now you're looking for some setups created by Dorito, who's always downfield. Here he goes, bumping Oli out the way. Jorrias has to get a rather difficult read off the backboard. He finds it, but big shout out to Dorito, who's putting in work on the offense, getting flashy, coming out with some mechanics, like that flip reset you mentioned, Jorby, and he's always downfield now. That could be a change implemented as that pass comes sailing across the field from Mark by 8 into Dorito.
A lot more physical play here from Gamers First.
Wide
I mean,
open.
that's wide open. There's
Wide
another
open.
one. Mark gonna get the goal here. Oxygen breaking down. Oli gets that first touch. Archie commits to the play. Jorrias is downfield.
And that's tough because I was on Jorrias' perspective, his cam. He anticipated a challenge win there right in front of his net. So he pushed out forward, and that's a lot of trust that you're giving into your teammates. And while you like to see it, another one's gonna go in favor of Gamers First. You've got Dorrias creeping on a net. Now he comes in for the 50-50. Two players go for Gamers First, and Atomic still has the confidence, the audacity to go for that shot.
I mean, there was two. He sees Archie flying in from the side, so he knows the net's open, and he knew he had Archie beat.
Yeah.
It was a pretty easy decision to take after that for Atomic. No way Jorrias could recover in time, and now Oxygen have found themselves in a pretty big hole here. Jorrias' shot just a little wide, screened across for a demo. But that physical gameplay certainly helps. The optimistic positioning for Oxygen doesn't help so much. A little bit of pressure here. Always get a free look.
Okay.
Up high,
Jorrias.
the shot is in.
Wow.
Nobody on G1 was ready for this on the touch.
And Jorrias was just waiting for the corner boost, and it did spawn. I don't think he necessarily needed it, but it's just very, very awkward positioning, like you said, from Dorito, where
He didn't know
not
Jorrias
sure if
was
they,
there.
I'm not sure if they saw. I mean, can you really expect a player from Oxygen Esports just to be camped up, setting up shop in your own corner?
Downfield when they're down
Well,
over.
he's waiting for the boost, Jorby. That's what I'm saying. These guys, they're like, you know what? I'm just going to sit here. The trust that Oxygen have in their teammates, while it's been at times too optimistic, it has proven in those moments to be very positive and beneficial for them when they move out.
I mean, that is the time to take risks, right? You're down 0-3. Nothing else is working, so if it goes down 0-4, I mean, that doesn't really change much. You're up 2-0 in the series, so why not take a couple of risks? Jory is certainly taking a couple now. He got burned on one, but he was successful on his second. Now here he comes with a solo effort, but drilled to the side by Mark. Oli sets it across, and Archie tried to be speedy. Puts it right back into Jorrias. Denied by Dorito. Gamers First. Hanging on to the lead. Just a little more time chewed off the clock would probably put them, make him feel more comfortable, and that's a little awkward. Pinball in front of the net, and a great touch from Atomic. Likely steals this one as Mark drills it over to the corner. Gamers First. Recover after their timeout. Dorito plays it away from the rotation, and that's GG for Game 3, Turtle.
And that's the player who made the biggest impact, in my opinion, was Dorito. He was moving out on the offensive side, anticipating a clear, and it was kind of like that trust we saw in Jorrias that he was giving his teammates was what we saw from Dorito, trusting his own teammates to find the clears and beat the opponents, at least with the 50-50 game and in the speed category. And there were several times where that played out and worked out for him. Think about the flip reset, Dorito going forward with a couple of solo plays. That's the first thing we see on the replay. He's going for the bump, going for the dunk after the flip reset. And then now here he is again. Look at how creeped up he is. He's all the way on the goal line, Jorby, trying to get aggressive. And I think Gamers First needed a player like that to take charge and make that first move.
Now for Oxygen, you kind of got to figure out what exactly went wrong here. I do think that I'm thinking about that Jory is sitting in midfield when maybe rotating back, he would have kept that in the play. But I mean, you were on his camp during that moment.
Yeah.
You have a better
It's kind of weird because it's a coin flip, because when you play that aggressive and you have that much trust in your teammates, it can work out in your favor, you know, several times. It obviously just comes down to whether or not your teammates are winning those challenges. And I think that Jorrias, he needs to have better decision-making on when to creep up, when to go forward. These kickoffs have been flourishing for Gamers First.
Yeah, Oli waits for that touch, and that's just great vision from Mark.
Yeah.
Oli, he bites up. It's not a bad launch from him. But he's thinking, okay, Mark's going to push this, drill a 50. But no, Mark was always going for that side pass, drops it right next to Oli and made him look a little silly for it. That was a great job by Mark facilitating the goal.
Maybe that has been a change implemented from Gamers First, keeping that first touch closer to them. Think about that flip reset from Dorito. He kept the ball close to him. Now you've got Mark off the kickoff, keeping the ball close to him, getting the second touch, which works out as the pass for Atomic. Gamers First have calculated a gameplay, found their play style, and have implemented it smoothly. Now the question is Oxygen Esports. They have to recover. They have to respond for the first time in the series.
No touch for Atomic. Over to Dorito. Back to Atomic. And a whifty in front of the net. Dorito almost made a pay. Atomic goes in there. Mark drills it, but nobody from Gamers First has it. Now Oxygen gets the breakaway. Archie, one to beat.
Oh, no way.
Dorito makes the stop.
Post-to-post action, and we're down the other end. Not one team can hold on to possession for longer than one, maybe two shots max. And this is high-flying action on both sides, Jorby.
Dorito pops this one up in midfield. Gamers First. More pressure. Mark got a free look there. I'm sure that's the touch he wanted. They do rotate back, and a non-touch from Dorito while the attacker trying to cover the 50. What a muscle.
That's
so much power.
Oh, man.
Atomic gonna push this one up. Had Mark
Dorito
expected that to come down for free. Maybe that's a goal, and he wins another one. Mark's winning every touch he challenges, and there's a goal.
What?
Mark by 8. Weaving his way through the defense and picks up Gamers' first second goal.
And that's a really tough one because I believe it was Dorito who bumped Jorius off of the challenge as he's rotating out. And then that's why you see this dismantling of the defense from Oxygen Esports, where they're looking, they're scrambling. Okay, Jorius got bumped out the way. How do we recover? They don't have anybody in place as that security, as that safety net in case that happens. I mean, why would you another shot?
Oh my gosh.
Keeps going in. Gamers First have taken everything into their own hands and are truly stomping Oxygen in game number 4.
Oli just had no boost. He needed a better touch from Jorias on that play. Jorias brought it down. If Oli has a little more boost, that play probably isn't much of a problem. He with that touch, they can continue to play defense, but he didn't. He needed something a little stronger, and he didn't have the backup to have anyone cover him on the play. Oxygen, after a really strong first 2 games, now getting outscored. I mean, it's 7 goals right now from Gamers First in the last 2 games. Now Atomic wants to make it 8 as Dorito leaves it, and Oli still with no boost, just can't make contact.
I mean, that timeout, I gotta wonder what the coach was saying. Jorius, look at the setup. This is picture perfect from him from the sidewall. Oh, the flip reset off of the free flip, Jorby. Is there anything more beautiful?
The pre-flip reset always looks so clean when you nail it. And Jorias, that was so good.
That was so fast. It's so fast, Jorby. You're on the defensive side. You see a pre-flip come through, and you're, okay, maybe he's gonna get a touch. But a flip reset, what do?
Oh,
you don't do anything. You let it go in.
Oh, Gamers First just kept that ball out. Some heroics there from Jorias. Now Archie plays a little bit of ball, but Oli can't force the ball out. Jorias has to protect the back line, and he just gets to that touch. Mark by 8, attending with Archie in midfield. Jorias
in the corner.
Redirect.
Jorias is always in the corner. You see him rotating out. He's waiting. He's taking your boost, finding pre-flip flip resets, and making some damage. He's the player to step up.
Okay.
Plenty of time. Off into the midfield. Jorias a little too late on that ball. Couldn't catch up to it. And Doritos there for a 50-50, setting up Mark by 8. A big booming clear down the other side, but it's given right into the hands of Oxygen. This is the issue they were dealing with in the first few games. They've been forced back into that play style, and so many midfield passes are coming through. When will something get answered? Finally it does. It's Jorias again.
Oh, Dorito, the last man on this play. Mark gets this first touch, and Dorito starts pushing upfield with no boost.
Here we go.
He's thinking Mark's going forward on that play. But he was also in a tough spot because he also had an attacker behind him trying to bump him, trying to recover back. But I don't know if you start driving upfield there if you're Dorito before that play develops.
I mean, is that not the same issue we saw with Jorias before? Jorby, this has been a battle.
They all want to do that. They all want to do that. They want to take that risk. Third man always wants to push up the field. And I swear, that just burns you just as much as it helps you.
Absolutely.
push it across the corner, Turtle. They might make the comeback happen as another shot comes through. Archie, Dorias, one more pass, a high ball. Touch out front. And I think this one might be dead for Oxygen, marked by 8 with a big clear.
And this is personally my favorite type of Rocket League to watch, where all the risks are being taken. I mean, if you want to play passive, you don't trust your teammates as much as you could. You don't inch forward. That's not how both these teams want to play. They want to take that risk, push up, throw Jorius in the corner, let him take some shots like this one, and maybe it'll set up somebody like Oli, but you've got marked by 8 who's pre-jumping you, getting dunked, and flying by.
They're not doing enough to starve Gamers First on defense. They are looking a little lower.
He's in the
now,
air.
Mark's got a full tank, and he got beat! Archie from the sky, tie game!
A slam dunk from the heavens. Archie, he's neck and neck with the ceiling and spikes it down. This is absurd from the mechanical beast himself, and he's surrounded by other mechanical beasts. Finally, he gets that pass. He gets an opportunity to showcase what he's capable of, and we have a tied-up game.
And Mark was close to that ball, but not close enough. A 3-goal comeback for Oxygen. Jorias, he started it off with a banger pass.
Yeah.
Now Gamers First, you can't let this one get under your skin, Turtle.
Yeah, they had to work for it though, Jorby. This has not been, punishing games. There's a big ball from Archie, and then the follow-up from Jorius, but it's saved by Oli. What a disaster. That looked like that could have been the game-winning goal.
Jorius hit it towards Oli there.
Pain. Absolute
Archie
pain.
denied. Are they going to play ball? Oli up high.
Gotta play ball.
Doritos got the boost, but he's missed it. Left it for Atomic, and that's probably the smarter play.
I think Gamers First just got away with murder because of that awkward play from Oxygen. Archie got a bump on the third man, Jorby. He went and took him out in the air. Now they're dealing with more pressure. Gamers First, they're hanging on by a thread, but we know what can happen when they get those chances on offense. It's anybody's game.
Oli, clean touch. Archie gets the bump. No double though for Oli. Jorius free shot denied by Mark, who keeps getting in front of these touches. But it hasn't been enough to stop the comeback for Oxygen. They're still mounting pressure. Jorias builds the gauge up a little bit more. Oli next up. Shot. Saved by Mark. Free ball. No shot comes out. Oli blocks the retreat. And Oli comes across on the ramp and gets another touch out. Jorias, a full tank of boost. Pass to Archie.
Out to Archie.
It's a free look. Archie towards. Didn't really get much at it. And it's a good clear for Gamers First. Mark keeps it close. But no touch from anyone. No one was close to that ball. Oli. Nothing for him, and they slow down for now, but Mark gets a breakout touch. Dorito, one, not a second, but a
there it is
for Atomic, and Gamers First catch Oxygen flat wheel. They tie up the series.
Somehow, some way, Gamers First, they hold on, and they do it in style at the very end, 1 minute into the overtime, from the corner, out into the midfield. It looked like they had their backs against the wall and everything was crumbling, but they get one transition, one opportunity. The consistency from Gamers First when they can get on offense, Jorby, it's undeniable. This has been some unreal Rocket League, and we do get a timeout now on the other side for Oxygen Esports, who are faced with a similar challenge. They need to respond. It looked so good, so clean when they were getting back in this game, Jorby, but it slipped away at the very end.
I just want to think about that last play a little bit more. Nobody jumps for that ball, and I'm thinking where everyone's sitting in the rotation.
Yeah.
It feels, or everyone had an angle, but everyone was expecting the other guy to go for the ball.
Right.
So nobody jumps. And G1 are given a free shot. Oxygen, they mounted that comeback. They were playing it perfect. Even though Mark was coming up with some incredible saves, Atomic, all three of them, really. Yeah. They had 10 saves. Oh, so much offense from Oxygen that G1 just have to contend with.
And then
there was only 3 for Oxygen.
You remember the Oli save where they hit it into each other, Jorby?
Yeah.
What was that from Oxygen? That was. Well,
that's what I'm saying. Is that Jorius had the entire right side of the net, and he was coming from the right side.
Right.
So he's got to get on the left side of the ball, but he's probably thinking it's better if I hit Oli. He's going to hit that redirect, and then there's no way they're going to defend it. But I think that's just one. You just shoot on the right side.
Yeah.
Right? You think? I would have to take
if we took another look at it, it would have been a moment where I think the ideal shot is to just take the shot on the far right side. That was the main thing. I don't know if it was just unlucky or an awkward play. As we do take a look at some of these replays, it started out already on fire. Look at the hype too from Mark Baye. I mean, there's so much on the line. There's points. There's getting off to a good start here in the fall split. This is everything for these players, especially making top 4. And Mark Baye, along with Gamers First, they have fought for this. They've earned their spot now in this series because they've had to put up with Joreuz in your corner, taking boost. Then you've got Archie, who is bumping you. I've seen Archie as the front man jump in the air and just try and take you out if you're in goal. That's so much to go against. Then Oli's finding every read, and somehow they still manage to hold on. Gamers First, they are resilient.
The desk was split on how they thought this match would go. At the start, Oxygen looked like they might run away with it, but Gamers First took a timeout. They roared back to tie the series. Now, the second timeout over by Oxygen. And now they got to figure it out and try to put this on match point underway on Wasteland Night.
It's hard to critique the offense from Oxygen. I think everything comes down to, of course, the defense and how they're recovering. I think when they rotate back, things can get a little dicey. Maybe the communication slips up with how they're positioning themselves, and they can't handle somebody like Atomic, who's making work in the corners, putting in hours, trying to throw you off. Here comes Dorito slowing down the approach, and the play gets demoed as a result. But good control from Gamers First.
Oh, Joreuz just backflipped. That's going to leave it open. Oli in a tough position to challenge now. Gamers First. They get in on offense. Not control of midfield. Couple of saves. Mark keeping it close. Saw Archie in net. And also knew Joreuz was there to cover. That one just a little high. Archie low on boost. Oli on 12. Joreuz just got a full tank in the corner, but this is still Gamer First ball. Look at Atomic. He's just a faster player. Off the crossbar. Mark by 8 blocked. Down the corner they go. Oli. Attempted bump by Mark. Gamers First, still their ball. Joreuz diving with nothing. Oli diving. He's got nothing now. Archie expends almost... Yeah, he does expend the whole tank.
Look at the boost.
Gamers First. Yeah, they're just running out every time they go up for the ball.
Everybody needs to take a look at the top left. I mean, there's barely any boost here for Oxygen Esports. They're dealing with crumbs on the field, and then a big miss. This could be a breakout play. Time for Oxygen to get boost. Instead, it's cleared all the way down the other side. Archie, a little late in rotation, and because of it, he can't get the touch off the post. Where's the follow-up shot? The third man, marked by 8, didn't want to commit, and because of it, we're down the other end. Maybe a follow-up from Oli. Doesn't get it. And we have had looks on both ends now. More coming in for Oxygen.
Oh, man. Oli, good pass over to Joreuz. A little too far for him to handle. Oli on the follow-up again. Very slight touch on the 50. Archie gonna let it drop for Joreuz. More pressure for Gamers First, but not even halfway through. Turtle, 7 shots for Gamers First, only 3 for Oxygen. Maybe an 8th comes, but Archie got a good 50. Now he got bumped, has to get back in the net. Throw chase Mark down, and at least enough time for Joreuz to get back. Here's another pop. Dorito not gonna commit. He sees Archie and Oli both committing. Joreuz next up, 12 boost, hard clear. That's gonna do enough to buy some time for the small pad game. Oli has read that, and he'll put it back to the corner.
Who's gonna start game number 5 strong? In this series alone, each team that scored first has won that individual game, so that's how important it is to build momentum early on. Of course, both want to get off on the right foot. Oli gets demo taken out, and because of it, Atomic can get some boost. He's following it up, looking for a double tap, maybe a poor touch in the corner, but you've got a double commit. At least one of them finds it, and it's all the way down the other end. Mark has to get a good read. He missed it. Then the follow-up shot is slightly weak, and it's right in the middle of the net. Down the other end.
No way.
Counterattack after counterattack. It looked like Oxygen were about to set themselves up for the first goal, but instead it's Gamers First striking.
Wow, Dorito. Perfect launch, but let's talk about Atomic's touch. We were criticizing Gamers First for their first touches in game 1 and 2, Turtle. That first touch from Atomic was picture perfect for Dorito. Got the attacker to bite beyond midfield, left the net wide open.
Unshakable. The defense of Gamers First. They were faced with a lot of opposition in their own half. And Oxygen were looking like the team that would score first, and they still look like it right now as they carry themselves out on offense.
Nice.
Good pinch from the corner, getting more creative. And Gamers First always have a response, Jorby. I feel like this has been a frequent theme. Oxygen, deadly, lethal on offense, but one counterattack and Gamers First are able to change things up.
Oh, he's got 2 wingers.
Ooh.
He picked Joria's, made it awkward off the back wall. Now Dorito gets bumped out of the net. Joria's trying to plow that net open, but still somehow Dorito got done.
Oh.
Joria's found his way, and he's punched through the defense.
There it is, from the corner. Archie pinched it across. Dorito, it's too weak of a touch. You see what he was going for, an air dribble from the back end. That way he can get a better 50-50, a good challenge, but he lost control. It slipped out of his hands and right into the hands of Oxygen.
Oh, Mark winning the touch on the cheat up, forces Archie back. Late goal to tie things up. Oxygen, and a pause called by Gamers First, and we will have that pause, so we'll figure out what's going on. And
I guess we needed a break. This has been too crazy.
You good, Charlie? You need a breath?
No, I'm chill.
How about you,
to be honest with you?
Look,
right? we came in here, okay, and I didn't know what to expect, to be honest with you. I mean, this is the beginning of the season. You're looking for which team is going to come out with, the aggressive play style, the passive play style. We've seen both teams have glimpses of both, where you've got Gamers First getting aggressive, trusting their teammates, but then they're also sustaining themselves on defense. I think the issue for Oxygen now is just the recovery. That's what it comes down to. Like when big clears come out from Gamers First, how do Oxygen rotate back in? I noticed a lot of times they'll get bunched up in their own net because they're all panicking to rotate back into the net because of one big booming clear down the other side. Gamers First, when they have to rotate all the way back, Jorby, they're very organized. It's night and day between these.
They're not nearly as aggressive as Oxygen are. I mean, you watch Joria's, whenever he gets that first touch, he's not leaving that offensive half of the field. He's trying to steal boosts. He's trying to go get bumps, and then he just cuts right back in. And he's like, "Oh, my teammate can get a touch on the ball. I'm turning." He's always wanting to be an impact player. He would rather take the risk than be risk averse, where it is slightly more risk averse for Gamers First. But that's why I think you're seeing these pop off moments from Oxygen where they score a bunch of goals in a row because those risks are working. Gamers First aren't expecting Joria's to be sitting in the corner, right? Like those types of plays really work out for Oxygen. But like you said, that puts you in a bad position when Gamers First do get that big clear. So I do think it comes down to that play style difference.
And that's, up to opinion there, what you want to play and what's the proper approach. Obviously, when it works, they're thriving. I mean, we've seen them pop off, Jorby, 3 goals in a row. They can come back into any game when the risk works out. And it does look like we will be restarting this game from the 45-second mark, going to kickoff. And we're getting back into the action, okay? This is so fun. I love what I'm seeing from both sides.
It's great, man.
You can physically see the response and the change that these teams have tried to make, even off the timeouts, Jorby, for Gamers First.
Well, a little bit of client issues for Atomic have been sorted out, and he's all good to go. And so are we on Wasteland. We could be sent to overtime here. Or Oli might have a good play.
Oh, he's going for the bump.
But Atomic sussed it out. Got there just in time. Out of boost, he loses the touch to Joria's. Archie getting bumped on the back end. That's going to open up the gate for Dorito and force Oli to play defense.
Oh, but he finds Jorius, another pre-flip out from the midfield. And then the bump. Okay, very physical gameplay from Gamers First out the gates from that pause. Several bumps, several physical attempts. Woo. Now, it looks like maybe we'll get sent into overtime, but that's a maybe because Oxygen might get a good setup off the backboard. Archie is there.
Oh my God!
Followed up from Oli. That could have been one of the most ridiculous plays, but instead, we're sent into another overtime.
Now, there was that hard shot that came towards the orange half. Atomic was still rotating back, and then Jorius went for the ball. I don't know if he thought the ball was being challenged or if he thought Atomic was going to get there. I was looking from Oli's perspective. It wasn't clear as from his. I'm thinking back to that. That might have been a chance for an Oxygen goal at 0 seconds earlier. But we're in overtime now. Match point on the line. Oli not going to get back to the ball. Cut off by Mark. Oxygen going to get a big clear here. Dorito bullied by Jorius. That's a touch only to Archie.
Mark's there.
In the air. Now Gamers First don't want to get into this rhythm where they're just defending shots. They do get a booming clear.
Yeah, and whenever they do find that rhythm of just sitting on the defensive foot, You'll see Oxygen look for midfield passes instead of the solo plays that we're getting from Jorius. Huge clears. I mean, look at the size of these clears from Gamers First, and it's causing issues for Oxygen. Bigger clears result in a bigger stretch from Oxygen, more boost wasted. In the first few games, it wasn't working out, maybe because the clears weren't as strong. But here we go. Oli to work with. Another free flip reset. These guys are going for all types of crazy things.
Oh, that's right, back to him. He's got a full tank too. Drills it into the floor, pass out, but that's not the play Archie was going for. He missed the double. Gamers First are happy they don't have to defend that. But Oli just pitches it back up. Archie's first to the ball. Mark knows it. Little chip pass to Oli. Back to Jorius. A three-course meal is sent to the trash can. Oli got a catch underneath with 40 boost. Got the dunk. Dorito gets in the way. And Oxygen wanna eat, but it's Gamers First, not letting them. Mark by 8. In front, cut off by Archie. Here's another one to Oli. One, not two. Punches it back. Jorius and Archie are ready for it. In the air is Jorius. Shot underneath, denied by Atomic. Archie, another pot shot, but it's way too late. Mark's got no boost. He needed some help. Atomic got there. Only 3 for him, and he launches it back to the Oxygen half.
Oxygen, that three-course meal, Dorby, that they threw away. They've been fasting. They're hungry. They want something here to eat, something to sustain themselves, maybe put it on match point. Jorius get that goal for himself from the corner. He's been doing so much work in those corners specifically. Archie's going to crash through, and then Oli doesn't have the boost to work with, but he forces an awkward touch, and thankfully you've got Jorius to get a save on the back end. This is going to go down the other side. Oxygen, what do they have left in store? They've thrown everything at Gamers First, and there's always been a proper response. Maybe it's time for Gamers First to throw something at the defensive Oxygen. Mark by 8's gonna crash through, doesn't get the shot, and we're back down the other side, Dorby.
All of Oxygen, none of them knew that everyone was starved on that last push on Gamers First, because Mark was sitting in net with 0. Dorito had like nothing, and if they just challenge the ball, they end up winning that, but you know, that's what happens when you don't have enough information. Oh, Archie! It doesn't matter! He nails the double top shelf! Oxygen go to match point!
And I'm convinced, Archie, this man lives in the clouds. The double tap from the heavens. Previously, he had been able to strike from the heavens. Now it's a double tap. This man can do it all, no matter where he is on the pitch, no matter how high he is on the pitch. Archie can clutch it out. 7 shots, 1 goal, but it's the most important one. And Oxygen, it's match point, baby.
This is a grinder of a game. It's literally defense simulator for Gamers First. They had 10 saves in game 4, and they had 9 saves in game 5. I'm pretty sure they had close to 7 or 8 in game 2. I can't remember. But either way, I mean, they're spending a lot of time on the orange half, and it's just too much. It's just too much for them. Archie wins. And again, it's the soft touch, the pop-up from Jorius allows Archie to get to the ball first, forces Gamers First to waste their boost, fly towards it. They're last to the ball. They lose the touch. It gives Archie a chance at a double. It leaves the rotation open. Oxygen look great right now.
But I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced that Gamers First are just gonna, take this one sitting down, okay? Because they have been, while stuck on their own defense, big clears that absolutely destroy and deteriorate the defense of Oxygen. One big clear down the other side. You've got a quick response, a good counterattack. Maybe that's the gameplay that they want to approach. The risks were working out for Oxygen in the last game. It put them on match point. But in Neo Tokyo, maybe things change. Maybe the risks don't go their way. And we get Gamers First back on the striking end. But obviously, Jorius has something else to say about it.
And Gamers First get tied up on the back end here. Mark rotating back. He gets chipped by Oli, and he was turning up the ramp. He was already in an awkward spot. But Mark thought that play was going to at least push to the corner a little bit. But all 3 players in Gamers First get caught in the corner.
Right. One big kickoff. Good start for Oxygen. Proper approach, too, on defense. Well organized. A demo from Mark Bailly. That's one thing I noticed in the last game. More physical. I mean, think about what happened after the pause came out. And we started again from the kickoff at the 45-second mark. Gamers First are trying to create space. Demo as much as possible. It's going to be hard because of how fast and quick Oxygen can be to go up into the air. You know, Archie likes living up on the ceiling. Something might break down for Oxygen.
Dorito pass over to Atomic. A little bit of pressure by Oxygen, or a little bit of pressure by Gamers first, but Oxygen do get out. Joreas ended up stealing that corner out.
Right.
Oli gets that midfield, but Mark gets the touch. All Oxygen rotated back, ready for it. And nobody on that follow-up immediately for Gamers first. Archie. Good soft touch from Dorito. Not dodging into it, giving Atomic the first chance. Oli hoping he could just... I love it, because there are some players that, if they have zero, they're on small pad duty, and unless they are literally at the point of attack, you won't really see them go for the ball. You just see them get boosted and try to read the touch. But not Oxygen. Oxygen, like, we have zero boost. We can play that. Joreas gonna play that one up. I mean, Oli's just been rolling around picking up small pads. He hasn't gotten a single boost. He really wants one here. And that shot's just gonna go in. Oli gets caught. He can't find the ball. He gets bumped out of the way. I'm not even sure he was in position. And that's a tie game.
He can't find the ball. He can't find any boost either. 13 to his name, just one pad.
That's what I'm saying.
You want to see him extend that rotation more to his own net.
Well, he was. Like, that's the thing. It's like he was coming back from midfield, and he was trying to pick up small pads, but there weren't. All small pads were picked up. He couldn't find any boost. But then he rotates back, and he pushes up the field. But Dorito's in the air, so even if he doesn't have any boost there, like, I don't think that's the spot you sit if you're Oli.
Well, and it's tough because if you are Oli, you want to change your rotation into the back of the net to pick up, obviously, the small pad. Because what kind of save are you going to be able to make if that ball isn't just hit directly at you? You need some kind of boost, and you need boost to get the save unless it's off the crossbar like that one. Oxygen Esports have been put in a difficult situation, more specifically Oli. I want to see that third man rotation extended. I want to see it a little bit deeper. They get sometimes too desperate on offense, and then one big clear. I saw it with Joreas. He's running back. He has to get some kind of touch. It's that risky play again where it's so aggressive and you're hoping the 50-50 goes your way, or you're hoping Arctic can find a touch. He doesn't get it, and now he's forced to scramble and make a panic play.
You know, we said that with the old style G2 when they used to be ultra aggressive all the time. We say it all the time about them, you know. It is high risk, high reward, meaning if you don't get the perfect touch on offense every time, that ball's careening towards your net. And we talked about it a lot during this series, Turtle. You have mentioned it a lot of the times when they get these booming clears, and here it is again, a demo in net. But this time Joreas gets to the 50. Mark makes it awkward for two players caught in the corner, and that one's a little awkward for Archie, but he comes up with the grab.
Oxygen have been able to get some boost. Gamers first looked to starve them out, but it didn't work out in their favor. And that's a different skill, Jorby. I mean, I think it comes down to the decision-making now for both teams, and more specifically for Oxygen, when they want to take that risk. When is the right idea, right time to push forward and hope that your teammate can win that 50-50? You have to read the play perfectly. And it's so hard to anticipate a 50-50, which can sometimes quite literally be a coin flip as to whether or not it's going to go in your favor or not.
But that comes down to the risk management like you're talking about. You know, you got to decide. Are you going to optimistically position for the win? Are you going to try to give yourself both options? Or are you just going to play it safe? I mean, there's pros and cons to each option depending on the situation in front of you. What a shot, but a little high. Those have been some of their most successful plays. Those high balls they have the Joreas, just let him take shots from high on. Even Archie's nailed a couple of them now too.
Oh yeah, I mean
that's been, I think, their most effective play against Gamers First.
And that usually only happens whenever they have a deeper rotation. Somebody's all the way in the backfield. A big miss. There's the follow-up. It's top corner from Joreas. What happened to Gamers First on the defensive side? Dorito.
Oh, Dorito!
Tried to free flip.
Oh, the whiffy! Oh! Someone had to touch that ball. Gamers First.
Oh.
They're put to the ropes, Turtle.
This is it. This is match point. Oxygen Esports from 2 whiffs might take the series win.
Will pop up. Dorito, touch over the side wall. Atomic gonna crash it. They know they gotta push Dorito. Side touch, 2 touches. Atomic was positioned for something a little better, but he hit it on the floor. And Mark by 8 finishes it. Gamers First get out the bulldozer, and they push the ball through.
Off the backboard, continuing to be efficient. They didn't get too many looks at the net, but my goodness, they make it count. Gamers First have found a way to get back into this game. They get some revenge and redeem themselves from that defensive blunder, but hold on, they've got more pressure to deal with, Jorby.
It's not quite over on Neo Tokyo. 0 seconds. Archie moving across. He wants to play that in the corner. Of course he does.
Oh, so does Atomic.
He sees Mark, but up in the air's Jorius. And now Jorius is going to protect him. And no one else wants to play. We go to overtime.
Let it drop. Let the chaos begin. Oxygen, it must have been demoralizing. I mean, you had to hold it down for what, 11 more seconds. You would have taken the series win. And now you're faced with potentially a Game 7, but you want to end it quickly in this OT on Neo Tokyo. Big clears down to finding Jorius. That's what you wanted to see. You like that corner play where you can find somebody cherry-picking Jory. Will that play into effect? Or will Atomic get the save? And he does.
You know, I don't know if I like it. It's certainly fun when it works, though.
Yeah.
Mark, good catch. Gamers first. Running away into this Oxygen defense, or will they? Midfield is good, but now you gotta find those consecutive touches. Defended by Jorius, hopping quick. Another whiffy. They're happening a lot these days. Jorius doesn't get it. Oli playing it safe beyond midfield. Archie denied by Atomic. Oh, Mark wins a big touch, but then there's Archie on the back end. Oli downfield for Jorius. And it's a good 50. Oli dropped it, but couldn't put it on target. Archie tried to cut off the rebound. Jorius might get a look, and he does get back to the 50.
Safer positioning from Jorius. He's not as aggressive. We'll see how that changes this dynamic of Oxygen Esports. I think it's actually playing to the benefit. They've had good counterattacks. Like that setup came from Jorius. Off the backboard, a big dunk. And Oli was actually looking to play more passive like I was talking about, but then got taken out. Maybe Gamers First have recognized the slower approach. Opted to take demos. Here comes Oli to crash. It's saved. Dorito, crossbar, and out.
Jorius got a full tank, though. He sees Mark in the air. Underneath on the 50. Dorito gets the first look. No one wanted to commit. Oli's only got limited boost. And back over to Jorius. Jorius, he knows how to read that, but it's taken away. Archie lets it fly for Oli. Bro, Atomic not gonna get there. Hang on, Turtle. Here comes Oli off the ceiling, taken away by Mark.
This is insane. I was on Oli's perspective. He's literally in his own half. He has to rotate all the way back. The midfield boosts aren't in favor of Oxygen, but they're somehow maintaining pressure. The clears are going right to Oli.
Oh, Mark!
Third man, he keeps striking. He's got to be the player to make the difference in this game, Dorman.
Oh, Mark by
the last man back.
Wait a minute, Mark in the midfield. And a big backflip from Oli! Shot denied. It was too high. Jorius was ready for it. Atomic getting chipped on his way back to the net. Dorito left all by himself, and he just gave the ball away. Now another chance, but Mark by 8's got him covered. A quick ball from Mark. Atomic couldn't grab it. Dorito swipes underneath. Atomic denied on the 50. Mark by 8. He really has been reliable in that third man spot, but they just got dunked by Oli. It's falling. It's saved, but a loose ball in front of the box. Mark doesn't need to touch it. He went for the read against Jorius, who didn't get the touch, and Mark gets the clear. Oli trying to protect the retreat. He does it a little bit. Archie kind of helped him out, or maybe hurt Mark in the way, and saved again by Archie. Jorius tying him up. Hang on. Taking out Jorius back over the side wall. Oxygen are okay for now.
Look at all that space. Oli opts to just boom it down the other side. Jorius was waiting. Very, very deep rotation, safe play from Oxygen. We're not seeing the risk come out. From Gamers First, however, there's been weird and awkward moments of space that's given up, but then they'll all of a sudden explode onto offense. Maybe that'll catch some of the players from Oxygen off guard as they're taking more boosts. Mark by 8 just took that corner boost. He's looking to go for a solo play himself, maybe land on a player and get a bump. Dorito's looking to get a touch in the midfield. Atomic has to get the save, and he does.
That was so risky. He thought the third man was there for the pass. So many times that could have been in for Oxygen.
Yeah.
Could have been caught as third man so many times in that situation. Just Mark by 8, he gets to relax a little bit.
Sorry.
And that was probably the only spot you don't get dunked. Over 4 minutes of overtime, Turtle.
Dude, I'm ready.
First, they're starting to get more of this ball. Atomic. He wanted to put it backside of Archie. Couldn't find the touch.
That's got to be bait. That's got to be bait. Okay, there's more possession for Gamers First. That means Oxygen in the lead. That's how this series has gone. One team looks to be in charge of the offense of the possession, but one counterattack can change things that quickly. Good read from Atomic in the corner, then a pinch across. Back to Oli, back to the other side. I mean, this ball, it doesn't leave Supersonic, Jordan.
Oh my God! Holy! A redirect to make every highlight reel? That was ridiculous!
Oh my, what? He barely had any angle on the shot. Comes through from the left side. It looked like an initial shot already, but this man just adds a little bit of sauce, a little bit of speed, and the series is over.
He's so relieved his camera's winking out. Oh my goodness, Oxygen.
What was that?
Take a deep sigh of relief. They survive Neo Tokyo. They survive Gamers First. And they move on in the tournament, Turtle. The semifinal for this team's first appearance together. It's got to feel great.
Oh, that's got to feel so fantastic and a big boost of confidence. As we now take a look at the replays, it started off with very awkward whiffs. Then Joreus comes through. They're about to take the series win, and somehow Gamers First can clutch it out, find the tying goal. But that's the shot that'll do it. Oli was coming from the left side, Jorby. That shot, or at least that pass, quote unquote, a pass, it already looked like it was going in the net or potentially on target. Oli just added some speed and a little bit of misdirection, and things changed from there.
Yeah, I mean, Mark was in position for it. Oli made him pay. And Oxygen Esports make it to the semifinals. But we got 3 more quarterfinals coming up.
We've got more.
If you got to get up quick and, get some stuff done, you better do it because we're not on break for too long. BDS versus Quadrant up next. We'll be right back.